Hi everyone. In this video I want to talk about the implementation of controls. Over the years I've done a lot of work in the risk assessment arena with people and looked at a number of industries and looked at controls for things that have been identified as hazards and risks in the organisation. I don't want to get bogged down on the semantics of the pros and cons of things like the hierarchy of control and other systems such as that. By all means do a Google. There's some really fascinating and really good interesting reading out there about the hierarchy and its effectiveness. What I do want to talk about though is the actual controls themselves. And it's been my experience over the years that many people identify a problem that's a hazard in the workplace. They've assessed the risk and then they want to put in place a control measure for that. And what they do is they put it into control and go, tick, job's done, nothing else. They don't look at anything else, move on to the next problem. So they look at the hazard and the risk in isolation when they're putting that control. The problem you have with that, I've seen many times, is you can actually control one hazard and create another hazard at the same time without even realizing. It might be totally unrelated. And then just to give you a couple of examples of that, for example, you might identify in your IT room, for example, a significant fire risk or a business continuity issue if there was a fire. So you might install a CO2 suppression system. That's great. The CO2 suppression system goes off. It protects your assets. It protects the IT infrastructure from a fire because it extinguishes it. But if you don't set it up correctly and, for example, don't give people enough time to evacuate the area, or the alarms aren't audible or can't be heard over the fans and other infrastructure, then you've potentially created an oxygen deficient atmosphere where people can't breathe and you end up creating another problem. Tick, fix the fire problem. Now we've created an atmospheric hazard issue. Likewise for things like work at heights, we see plenty of times where someone's identified a work at heights issue. So they look at their risk assessments, they look at the hierarchy of control, and they deem in this instance that a harness and a lanyard is the answer to that. That's great. What type of lanyard are we going to use? There might be a shock absorbing lanyard versus a retractable lanyard versus an inertia reel. 3 different products, 3 different uses. Likewise, they go and grab the lanyard and connect it to an anchor. What anchor are they connecting to? What's it been rated to? When was the last time it was inspected? Have we addressed the original problem of a work at heights hazard? Tick, done that, but we haven't looked at what equipment we're using, how we've controlled it, what we're connecting that equipment to, things like that. So again, as you can see, you can put in a control that addresses one issue, creates another issue. So obviously when we're going to put in control measures, we could use things like the hierarchy, absolutely. Don't look at it in isolation, don't look at each hazard and risk in isolation, look at the big picture, look at what else could happen in the workplace, look at what those controls can create. Can it create another issue, as I said earlier? You need to risk assess them again. You need to put it through a management and change process as well. So it's really important that we do that properly when we put in control measures. Thanks for your time, hope that helps.